sweet friend, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Mariana, and this is part one of the fireplace built-in saga. I have been dreaming about building this fireplace for a very long time, and I finally had a little bit of extra money and also the time to do it, and I am so excited that you are here for some DIY motivation. This AC unit is 23 years old. They don't make them like this anymore, and it's very heavy, but to us it's treasure. My dad bought it for my daughter when she was born as a gift. So for now, I will store it in the garage until I figure out in the summer what type of AC unit I'm gonna be installing in the house. I am also extremely happy that I'm closing this window because I don't open this window. I have a neighbor that is right there. He's a male, and I just don't feel comfortable having this window open at all. So I'm actually very pleased that I finally gonna get to close it and no one can peek in the house. To close this window, I went to Home Depot and I purchased a sheet of plywood, and the gentleman there helped me cut it for me, and he cut the one piece that is the hole that I'm going to be putting on the outside, and I'm going to show you how the outside looks. And then the other piece, because it wasn't exact, he cut it in two pieces for me. Now, the reason I get so excited here, it's because I am terrible at measuring. So I told the guy, listen, this is what I measure, but can you just cut it a little bit less, because I'm pretty certain that I probably measure incorrect. So he cut it a couple of millimeters less than the measurement that I gave him. To hold the plywood, I am nailing some screw on the border of the window, and I'm doing the same thing on the outside, and I am about to show you how it's looking. Also, later on in the video, you're going to see that I'm also going to be using the foam to make sure that everything is completely sealed. And this is how the outside looks. I am trying to find the center of the wall, but it's going to be really tough because from there to half of that border is 4 feet, and from there to there it's almost 7. So trying to cover the window and find some sort of center and symmetry, it's going to be tough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this piece right here, and I'm going to try to start the fireplace right there on that border. It's going to be a little tough because the idea is that you build sort of like a rectangle, you put it against the wall, and that's easy. But you know me, I am usually recycling whatever I have in my garage, saving pieces of wood, trying to stretch it, trying to be as frugal as possible. And of course, we have the dogs always showing up, and yeah, it's a mess. The rest of the house is a mess. I'm a mess, but I'm excited. The struggle was real trying to cut this piece here of wood, and it was mainly because I had forgotten that I had a special tool to cut things like this. So first I tried the saw, I tried my tools, and then the hammer, and then finally I remember that I bought the special tool. I don't know the name, but I finally was able to cut it. Hello, this is how I'm trying to think if how I want it, just because I do want a big TV. This TV is very bulky, it's working, but it's not connected to the Roku, and I'm gonna buy another TV. So I do want a big TV. So I think that's where it's gonna go. Now the fireplace is that small and it's okay, but I think this is how we're gonna do it. And yes, I should have bought the studs longer, but I'm not gonna do that. I'll figure out how to hold that against the wall. Let's go. Most people buy 2x4s to build a fireplace. Those are almost double the money, and I was not gonna do that. So I purchased I believe they're 1.5x3, and they cost $2.48 each. And that's what I'm doing to build the fireplace. As you know, I'm very unconventional about how I measure. I know it's the wrong way to do it. And I hope you sit back and you just feel motivated that if I can do it, you could do it too. Here I'm showing you the measurement that I'm using. Can I give you the exact measurements? I'm not quite sure I can do that. And the reason for that is because I don't know your space. You have to build something that it's around your space, your configuration. As you saw me at the beginning, I was trying to figure out how do I center this fireplace to the best of my ability with what I have. And that's what I always want you to feel encouraged. Like there's always a possibility, and that you have the power to do that somehow. Or someone will come and try to help you, or someone will give you an idea either through YouTube or a neighbor or someone. So I really hope that you enjoyed today's video, that you come back for part 2 and part 3. Remember to turn on your notification bells on so you could see the next part of this wonderful fireplace saga. 1 foot. I'm only gonna make it 1 foot tall because we're little and if somebody wants to just sit there, I think that's fine. So that's what I want to do. Make them just 1 foot tall. When you hit something like this and not like this, the screw doesn't go through, and that's why I was having so much trouble. One tip that I can give you is to try to sort the pieces of wood when you go to Home Depot. Make sure that they're straight as you could find them. And also try to try to pick the ones that they don't have a lot of nuts, like the one that I should show you. Although the pieces of wood are cheap, you want to spend a little bit of time trying to find the best pieces of wood that they have, so you don't have a hard time when you come home cutting the pieces of wood or drilling the pieces of wood. Now here is where it gets tricky because my floor is uneven, the wood is uneven, but the box against the wall has to be even. So I'm gonna go look for a level, and we're going to figure out how we're going to do this. I'm taking the entire baseboard out because after I finish building the fireplace, the plan is that I'm going to also build some built-ins on each side and floating shelf. So please make sure you come back, even if it is to keep me company. Again, I am not a professional. I am just here to encourage you, to motivate you to tackle some DIY project in your house, and to let you know that yes, you are able to do it. So tell me, have you built anything lately, or have you hired somebody to build something for you? Or what is the one project that you wish you could do either before the end of 2023, or a goal that you have for 2024 of renovating, or any DIY? It doesn't really have to be something that you built. It could be something that you saw or something that you need. From the same sheet of plywood, this piece right here comes from that sheet. And this is what I'm saying. I try to use every little bit of piece of that plywood, and the plywood cost me only $20. So picture that. It's good for the base, and it helped me cover the outside of the window and the inside of the window. Now that the bench is level, it's center, I am taking a moment here to drill this bottom piece to the base so it's secure and it doesn't move. After I finish securing this part here to the bottom of the fireplace, I am going to be measuring the pieces of wood that are going to go on the side. Now, the other problem that I have here is that the ceiling is also not even. So this is how I'm measuring. I am leaning this piece of wood against the wall, measuring from the ceiling all the way to the bottom. I am going to be using a pencil, marking it, and going to cut this piece. And I'm going to do that with every single piece. It's very unconventional, but the ceiling is not level, the floor is not level, and honestly, I am awful at measuring. So this is the best I can do is I stand it by the edge, I mark it, and then I cut, and I'm trying to make the sides. That's how I'm gonna do it. That's how I do it. Now that I finally have this piece in here, I am going to be securing this to the wall, to the ceiling, and also to the base. And then I'm going to be doing the same thing to the other side. The one thing that I am not cheap is in buying the right type of screws. You cannot put metal screws into wood because you will break the wood. I am going to be linking in the description box the box that I use with the screws that I use. They're meant for wood and they're long enough that they grip into the sheetrock and to the stud behind the walls. Here what I'm doing is I am going to be going around the window from the inside and outside, using this foam to seal the window just to prevent, because this is going to be permanent. I don't want perhaps the window breaking one day. Here in Jersey we did had 3 hurricanes so far, so I want to make sure that there's no air coming from here, no moist coming from here, and that I'm doing this the best that I can. And while I'm doing this, I'm also gonna have a little bit of fun. It's time for me to start taking the fireplace apart. I purchased this fireplace last year from the Facebook marketplace around this time, and I believe I paid $120. I will have to look back at the video from last year, maybe 100, and it is in top shape condition. And what I like about this fireplace, it warms up the space. But if you don't want to have the heat on, you could also just have the the glowing light, the fireplace light for ambience. And that's what I plan to do, because the first floor of my home, when we turn on the heat in the winter and the heat stays all the way until usually the spring, it gets really hot on the first floor. So I'm not, this is more for aesthetic, for coziness, for a good vibe, to make me feel good when I come from work, watch TV, and to elevate the house, right? And you could elevate the house using recycled materials, thinking outside of the box. And here I am. I am going to be using the mantle. I'm thinking I'm going to take the mantle to my school. I'm currently teaching third grade, and I think the kids will love it if I have this mantle in the classroom and decorate it for them. Or if I don't end up taking it to the school, then I'm going to keep it in my room and try to create like a fake logs. And I don't know. I know for sure I'm going to be using the outer part for something. But now that I finally took this out, I have to measure it, I have to center, and then I have to start building a frame around it. Here, as I mentioned before, I am trying to find the center and try to build the frame around it. What I want to share with you is that I have been watching a ton of videos about people building this fireplace unit. And one of the things that always comes to mind is, what about fire? What about if your unit warms up and the outlet starts burning? And do we understand that there's a risk that the unit can heat up? So, to avoid that, one of the things that you have to be mindful is that if you are going to have a built in like this, you do need some sort of ventilation, because the unit, it's going to warm up. So you have to read the manual, and you do need to build a portion perhaps on the top of your fireplace where the hot air comes out, because I seen people that they built in the fireplace, and in it they also put the TV. The way they build it, and if you've been watching a lot of videos like that, you'll understand what I'm trying to explain to you. But please be mindful, these units will heat up. So you do need some sort of ventilation for the air, the hot air that is condensing in between the wall and the unit, to come out of this box that we're building in. So again, I am not a professional, but I'm begging you to please read the manuals of your units. And if you bought your unit in the marketplace, in the Facebook marketplace like I did, or secondhand, nowadays, every single company has the manuals online. So make sure you read your manuals. And I hope you're laughing at me. This is again me, how I measure, not using the measuring tape, because every time that I do, I'm going to mess it up. And if you're wondering why I suck at measuring, is I learned to measure with the metric system. And to me, the metric system, it's more precise than what we use here in the United States. And I don't think my measuring tape has the metric system in it. And I'm also at this point very exhausted, because this is on a Saturday that I'm doing this part of the building. And this 30-minute video, part one, was about 2 days worth of work. And you see me with the same clothes, but what happens is that at night I will throw these clothes in the washer machine, because this is my working clothes. So I don't know about you, but I kind of have old sneakers and old pants and t-shirts that I use when I'm doing something like this that either I'm gonna get stained or really, really dirty. Now that we have the fireplace unit in place, I am going to be building around it and trying to be mindful that I'm going to be hanging in a TV, and the TV weighs about 22 pounds, so it has to be sturdy enough to hold the weight of the TV. And that's another thing you have to be mindful. Are you going to hang a TV? Are you also going to have speakers? How much is it going to weight? And then based on that, you got to figure it out how many studs you are going to put to hold that TV or whatever you're going to be hanging. Okay, I have to confess something over here. I decided to spread out the middle pieces without measuring. And then when it was time to hang up the TV, I usually you're supposed to spread them out every 16 inches. And I did not do that. And then when it was time to hang up the TV, I couldn't find the stud. And my stud finder wasn't able to find it. So please do yourself a favor. Don't do what I did. Write it down, perhaps in a piece of paper, how far you spread it from the beginning to the middle and from the middle to the other one and then to the next. So you are not going crazy and drilling unnecessary holes after you had the built-in in place. All right, so many funny things happened to me. This dropped. And many things dropped on me while I was building this, but I spent more time searching for my pencil and the drill. You have no idea. On total, throughout the whole project, I literally think I spent about 30 minutes looking for my pencil. When you add up all the times that I lost my pencil, I finally purchased the Home Depot orange pencil, and now I understand why those pencils are orange, because when you're working with wood, if you have like a number 2 pencil, they're yellow, they kind of blend in with your wood. So I'm guessing the reason the pencils for carpenters are orange is for that reason, so you could spot it right away. Another tip that I can give to you is that you have to make sure you're reading your TV manual recommendations of how high you're supposed to be hanging your TV. And this is very important for your health, because we are not supposed to be watching TV with our neck tilted backwards. We are supposed to be watching TV with our neck at a 90-degree angle from our chest. Because if you are constantly watching TV with your neck tilted backwards, if you are young, you are deforming your spine. And if you are old, you're only causing yourself pain, back pain, headaches, neck pains. So make sure you read your TV manual. Pay attention to the height of your sofa or whatever seating arrangement you're going to be watching your TV from, and hang the TV at the appropriate height considering your health. Friend, if you are still with me, I want to thank you so much for part 1 of this fireplace building saga. I am literally exhausted. I am hungry. I am sweating. I need a bath. And before I go, I'm going to give you a high five. And I really hope that you enjoyed today's video and that you come back next week for part 2. I am so ready to start decorating this fireplace and the mantle that I'm going to be building. And later on, what I'm going to be building is the floating shelf and the built-in in the bottom. And I am just super excited. And I hope I was able to spark some motivation and that you are able to grab a hammer and do something with it or start a DIY project of your choice, whatever that is for you. From the bottom of my heart, remember you are a true MVP. You are the most valuable person right where you are. And until next time, love always and stay safe. Bye, friend. See you in my next video.